The salvage ship Meridian's Hope drifted through the debris field like a ghost hunting memories. Arthur wiped the sweat from his brow as he maneuvered the external manipulator arm, carefully extracting twisted metal from what remained of a Zetherian transport vessel. 3 weeks since the galactic concordance forces had swept through the sector, leaving nothing but wreckage and silence, another dead zone. His partner's voice crackled through the comm. No survivors, no distress beacons. Let's mark it and move on. Arthur was about to agree when his scanner flickered. Wait, I'm picking up something. Faint biosignature, Deck 3 of the transport. Impossible. Nothing survives 3 weeks in vacuum. But Arthur was already suiting up. In this business, you learn to trust the machines more than assumptions. The Zetherian ship hung before him like a broken cathedral, its hull torn open to reveal darkened corridors within. He maglocked onto the exterior and pulled himself through a breach. The inside was a tomb. Bodies floated in the zero-gravity Zetherians, with their crystalline skin now dulled and fractured. Arthur pushed past them, following his scanner's ping deeper into the ship. The biosignature grew stronger as he approached what looked like crew quarters. The door was jammed. Arthur wedged his pribar into the seal and heaved. Metal screamed, and the door lurched open. That's when he saw her, a small Zetherian child, no more than 6 or 7 in human years, huddled in the corner of the chamber. Her crystalline skin pulsed with a faint amber glow, the color of fear. Arthur remembered from the xenology briefings. Behind her, partially covered by a thermal blanket, lay an adult Zetherian female. The mother's light had faded to barely a flicker, the child's large, multifaceted eyes fixed on Arthur's helmet. When she spoke, the translator in his suit rendered her words with heartbreaking clarity. Are you here to hurt my mother too? She's dying. Arthur froze. In 15 years of salvage work, he'd never encountered survivors. The protocols were clear: contact the authorities, maintain distance, avoid contamination. But protocols didn't account for the way those words pierced straight through his chest. He knelt slowly, making himself smaller. No, little one. I'm not here to hurt anyone. My name is Arthur. I'm here to help. The child, her name was Ariel. She told him had been hiding in this chamber for 21 days. Her mother had sealed them inside when the attack came, using the last of her energy to activate the emergency life support. The system had kept them alive, but barely. Her mother had been injured in the initial assault, and without medical care, she was fading. The others said humans were friends, Ariel whispered, her light pulsing between amber and deep violet confusion and grief. But the ships that came had concordance markings. Human ships. They fired on us even though we surrendered. Arthur felt his jaw tighten. The concordance was a coalition of 12 species, humanity included. But he knew the ugly truth that the Galactic Senate refused to acknowledge. Some human commanders had been using concordance authority to settle old grudges. From the resource wars, officially, such incidents didn't exist. Officially, humanity was civilized now. I'm sorry, Arthur said, and meant it with every fiber of his being. Some humans, some of us forgot what we're supposed to be. He moved to Ariel's mother, scanning her vitals. The readings made his heart sink. Massive internal damage, systems failing. Even with immediate medical intervention, her chances were minimal. But Arthur had learned something during humanity's bloodiest century. You don't survive by accepting the inevitable. You survive by fighting it with everything you have. Ariel, he said gently, I need to move your mother to my ship. We have medical facilities there. I can't promise anything, but I'm going to try to save her. Do you trust me? Those crystalline eyes studied him for a long moment. Finally, Ariel's light shifted to a pale green tentative hope. Humans are supposed to be stubborn, she said. Mother told me that. She said humans never know when to give up. Arthur smiled behind his helmet. Your mother is a smart woman. Come on. The next 6 hours were a blur. Arthur carefully transported both Zetherians to the Meridian's Hope, ignoring his partner's protests about regulations and quarantine protocols. He flooded the medical bay with the crystalline substrate Zetherians needed to heal, a substance worth more than his ship. He cross-referenced every xenomedical database he could access, adapting human trauma procedures to Zetherian physiology that it shouldn't have worked. By every rational measure, Ariel's mother should have died. But Arthur had learned something else during those bloody years. Humans were at their best when everything said they should fail. It was the stubbornness Ariel had mentioned, the refusal to accept that some problems couldn't be solved through sheer determination, and ingenuity. When Ariel's mother's light began to strengthen, shifting from dim gray to soft blue, Arthur allowed himself to breathe. 72 hours later, the Zitherian woman was stable, weak but alive. Ariel hadn't left her side, her small hand clasped around her mother's larger one. When her mother finally woke, the first thing she saw was her daughter's face, light pulsing brilliant gold with joy. The second thing she saw was Arthur, exhausted and unshaven, slumped in a chair beside the medical bed. "You're human," she said, her voice like chimes. "I am," Arthur replied. "The ones who attacked us, they were also human." "Yes." She was silent for a long moment. "Then, why did you save us?" Arthur looked at Ariel, who watched him with those large, hopeful eyes. He thought about protocols and politics, about species and sides. Then he thought about what humanity was supposed to mean, not humanity as conquerors or warriors, but humanity as the species that looked at impossible odds and said, "Watch me anyway." "Because that's what we're supposed to do," Arthur said simply. "We're supposed to be better than our worst moments. We're supposed to help, especially when others bearing our name have caused harm." Ariel's mother extended her hand, crystalline fingers unfolding like a flower. Arthur took it gently. "Then perhaps," she said, her light shifting to the deep purple of respect, "there is still hope for all of us." Arthur thought about the debris field outside, about the countless dead and the political machinations that had put them there. Then he looked at Ariel, alive and laughing as she climbed onto her mother's bed. "Yeah," he said, "maybe there is."